This is the Boston College Football Report. Eric Gallanty with head coach Jeff Hafley. Appreciate a couple minutes of your time here, and I know it's a busy time during training camp. Let's go big picture first, from your kind of 10,000-foot view on things, kind of midway point of camp here. What's been your overall impressions of things so far?
It's been great. The attitude, the energy, as good as we've ever had it. We're getting older. Last year we were a young team, first and second year players. Had a lot of guys injured. Now they're back. They're older. They're more mature. The level of accountability, the team policing themselves, the ownership. And then when you get on the field, there's just more competition. Guys are fighting for their jobs. In the last 2 or 3 training camps we've had, it's pretty much the starters are decided and the backups are the backups. I mean, we're pretty into the thick of camp here, and there's still numerous positions that I couldn't tell you who's starting. And that's because it's a good thing, because guys are pushing each other. So we've never had that before, and I'm glad I can say that to you.
How important is that when you have that many pieces? And people throw the depth of word around a lot, and it's important. What's so important about this time of year of turning depth into not just something you have, but a real strength?
Yeah, well, one, you're going to go through injuries, and you want to create a culture where guys are uncomfortable, and that's going to make them work harder. If they know that they have the job regardless, maybe they take a play or two off and they can get away with it. But if there's a guy who's close to taking their job, they can't. And they have to work that much harder. I think it makes everybody better. And then what it does is we can rotate guys, and we can keep guys fresh during games. We can keep guys fresh during practice. As we get older, and we need to here, you're going to see more and more of that. But this is the start of that, which, again, we have not had here.
As you kind of get into this point of the year, you have a bunch of new guys, but at some point they've been here so long, they're not new guys anymore, right? They're just part of it. But I think we know the on-field stuff that has to get accomplished during camp. But what's the importance of this time of year in terms of the culture building part, and how much is that a focus of these weeks of training camp?
Yeah, training camp is so important to build your team identity. Call it culture, right? It's the only time in the year where there really are no distractions. They all live together in the dorm room. They eat every single meal together. They're not going home to other friends. They're not going home to other places where they're living. Having all this free time, it is a grind. And the only way that they can do that is to rely on each other. So they wake up, they have breakfast with one another, they practice with one another, they go to treatment together, they finish at night about 8:30 together, and then they walk back to the dorms. So it's the time where they can kind of do this. Every other time you get, everybody's trying to pull you apart. And this is the time to form that bond where it becomes so strong, where once we leave this setting, nothing can pull them apart. And that's why you have to do this.
Let's talk defense a little bit. We talked about the depth. Feels like the size, the depth of your defensive line specifically keeps growing every single year. How important is that as you start to build what you hope your defense is this year?
Yeah, everything's going to be on the D-line. And I think the biggest transformation we've made since we've been here is our defensive line. And I think Coach Vinny Ogabasi's done an awesome job, one, recruiting the position, but then developing it. You look at a guy like Donovan, who was completely under-recruited at about 210 pounds. Now he's going into his junior year at 254 pounds, right? That's our recipe here. We're a developmental program, and he's your prime example of what that looks like. And the same for Neto Akpala, who is battling for a starting position right now with Sheeta Salah, who we're so glad is back. And then Edwin is all of a sudden in the mix. So now you got 4 guys pushing for 2 jobs, but then you rotate them during the season. And we also have depth on the inside. You got to win up front on both sides of the ball. We have depth now on the offensive line with the injuries from last year, with the guys who got experience, and the transfers, where who's going to win the left guard position, who's going to win the left tackle position or the right tackle position based on, where we put Ozzie Trapillo. But again, if those guys don't get to start week 1, at some point we're going to need them. And we have to be deep, and we have to be good and physical up front. And that's what I'm starting to see.
I'll give you the old 2-parter here, kind of the offensive line and the defensive line. You mentioned that experience in the offensive line. How much different does it make a camp like this when you have that experience of what it allows you to do with that line, and then what it allows you to do when the offensive line and defensive line go against each other every day as they build up to the season?
Yeah, well, the O-line against the D-line, you can't hide. There's experienced players, and iron sharpens iron. And when you have the depth that we do, and we go to an inside run or a team run period, it's physical. And in the past, we haven't even been able to do many ones-on-ones. Now it's all ones versus ones. It's our one offensive line versus our one defensive line. So you're creating real game-like speed and physicality, where in the past we've kind of had to go ones versus twos, and it's just not the same. So practice is harder, it's more physical, it's violent, and they're going to get better, and there'll be more game ready to play going through this camp.
As you go through this training camp, leaders are going to emerge, different guys, maybe guys you expected, maybe guys you didn't. Who are some of those leaders that fans can kind of look for that you've seen start to emerge over the first few weeks of camp?
Yeah, well, again, it should start up front on offense, right? And Mahogany's the first name that jumps out. Mahogany's not the guy off the field that's going to talk and do the rah-rah stuff, but when he steps on the field, it's completely different because he's got a nastiness and a toughness, and he leads by the way he plays. That's what we missed, and that's what he brings to that room. The guy who's kind of jumped out is Drew Kendall. Drew is a freshman All-American, played injured, so he's really tough. He's the guy that kind of brings it all together, which is really cool for us to see. And then on defense, it's a guy like Donovan. You know, he was a true sophomore last year, junior. It doesn't matter that he's not a senior. You know, we know he's one of the best players on our team, and he's really taken over that line, and guys are starting to follow him, which is good. Then you have Vinny DePalma, so you get into the older guys too, right? I feel like Vinny's been here forever, and he's that leader, that veteran leader that guys look to, for example, on and off the field. So it's really good to have him back there too.
Get you out of here on this. For the fans who maybe haven't gone through a training camp, haven't been in a huddle, this time of year where you're not evaluating based on wins and losses, you're not evaluating necessarily based on yards gains and things like that. As a coach, what are some of those things that you're looking for? Hey, day 11, day 13, day 20 of camp, that these are the sort of metrics or things that I need to see to know that we're kind of going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that goes back to, are they lining up right? Are they executing at a high level? Are they doing the little things? But at the end of the day right now, are they playing harder than the guy across from them? Can they do that on day 12, 13, and 14? We need to play harder than everybody that we play. And that's in my team meetings. If I don't see it, I show them examples of that. I want to see the guys that we can trust, right? You get guys that maybe are producing at a high level that you can't trust and aren't playing hard, it's going to show up. I want guys that are going to play harder than the guy across from them, give everything they have, and can get their job done. That's what I'm looking for right now, and so far we've seen it.
Can't wait for September 2nd, Coach. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Boston College football report rolls on. We're here with senior linebacker Kam Arnold. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Take us through. We're kind of midway through camp here. It's such a grinding time of year where you guys are building so much behind the scenes. What's been your overall takeaways from what you guys have experienced in camp so far this year?
I feel like as a defense, you know, we've been playing really hard. We've been big on holding each other accountable. Effort and attitude, you know, day in and day out, you know, come with the right attitude and the mindset to get better every day. And I think every guy on the defense has taken advantage every day and just using it to their advantage to get better and just seek the opportunity.
How much is it, you know, Coach Hafley's a defensive guy. We know how important setting the tone as the defense. How important is this time of year to kind of building towards that when you get into games and you guys are going to be relied upon so much?
It's really important. I feel like the defense wins the games. I feel like as a whole, we got to set the tone. We got to start fast, and I feel like we set the tone for the game and bring the energy, you know, to the offense as well. You know, they can feed off of us as we're playing.
How important is it this time of year for maybe the stuff that the fans don't see, but that you guys need to do this time of year as a defense to kind of come together as a group, whether that's during training camp or even before the work that gets done in the off season?
Yeah, I think what fans don't see is, like, you know, the time that we spend in the film room together. You know, we'll meet as a whole defense. We'll watch film and stuff, and you know, Coach Haf will break film down for us as well, and that's really helpful. And you know, it's really big. I think that it plays a big role in our success. You know, everybody understands what everybody's job is, and just understanding each person's role and how you can play faster and execute your job at a higher level.
You've been at a lot of different spots throughout your career. That versatility is always such an important piece when we talk about modern defense. How do you work on building that and building all those different roles in this training camp setting?
Yeah, I think, you know, me playing in a lot of different positions has helped me grow my knowledge of football and just the structure of our defense, and it's helped me help younger guys too as well, just understanding their position and their role, and how they can get better at it and find tricks and tips and ways that they can execute at a higher level.
Play commentator for us. Who's impressed you so far? You guys are in camp. We don't get to see it every day. Who are some of the guys that have been bringing the energy on defense during camp so far?
I would say Neto Akpala, defensive end. He's had a great camp. He's been really big for us. Edwin Kalinge, another young guy, defensive end. He's been really good as well. A lot of the linebackers, Owen McGowan, he's had a really solid camp. He's getting better every day. Offensive side, a lot of guys are stepping up. Receiver Lewis Bond, he's making plays. So it's been a lot of guys that's shined and stepped up throughout camp, and which is really good to see. And just as you see, we're building depth as well. If one guy goes down, we got the next man up. We got depth. A lot of guys, good players.
As a veteran, when you have this time of year when the young guys and transfers and whatever the case are starting to merge in, and there's the on-field stuff, but there's also the culture stuff of what you want Boston College football to be and Coach Hafley wants Boston College football to be. How important is this time of year for that aspect of things? Not just the on-field stuff, but the off-field stuff that we know plays such a big role in successful teams.
It's really big. We're big on interacting with our teammates, getting to know each other. Like when we're eating, guys aren't having their headphones in and stuff. We're all just interacting, communicating. Sitting with different people or sitting with our position groups and just getting to know one another. Sitting with our coaches as well, and we're just talking, getting to know each other, and just build bond, build chemistry with each other, and yeah.
What are some of the big goals for you individually? We know the team goals certainly, but what are the kinds of things that you're trying to set goals for yourself this time of year?
I'm just looking to just, play fast, execute at a really high level, and do the best I can and win my team football games. That's my goal right there.
Well, we can't wait to watch it. Thanks so much for the time and good luck this year.
Thank you, guys.